Hey everybody, this is the real Quaid here. I've actually got something different for you guys today. This is a gym challenge actually on our Dragon Ice gym. So Bacheleren is our Dragon Ice gym leader. He asked me to do a commentary on his video. I happily obliged. So if you'll notice, if you've noticed the past few of my videos, the quality has increased dramatically. It's primarily as a result of him. So basically what'll happen is, we do our battles. He'll go on his flash cart, download them from the GTS or whatever through Nintendo's thing, and then basically upload the save file and send it to me, and then I can use an emulator on my side and just basically grab the video from there. So if you've noticed that, we're kind of getting away from using the cameras in the DS, it's mostly as a result of Bach, so I was more than happy to help him out and give him some commentary on some of his challenges. So this is actually his first challenge. His gym just opened today. Like I said, he's the Dragon Ice gym leader, so he's got his Kyurem basically covers both bases, which will allow him the wild card to get his Jirachi in there, his favorite Pokemon. Also, this is a Kyurem B. You can't tell that the emulator I had was just a white. It wasn't a white 2. I think it was a white. It wasn't the second version, whatever it was. So it looks like Kyurem. It's actually Black Kyurem, which you'll see he actually does use his electric attack. I forget what it's called. Fusion Bolt, I think. But we'll get to that. So he also carries Abomasnow, bring in the hail and help out a lot of his team. And then at the same time, he's actually up against alidsl in this one. And Ali actually has a Politoed, so we might have a little bit of a weather war. I've actually seen this, so I know what happens. I won't spoil it for you guys, but you see the teams, you kind of think Politoed versus Abomasnow, and you'll notice that also neither one is leading with their respective weather inducers, which is a great call because in a weather war like this, it's whoever can keep up their weather, the best tends to have a strong edge. So Ali's team, he's got a Volcarona, which I assume is going to have Hurricane and other strong weather attacks. Dry Skin Jinx is there. Breloom's always scary. His Darmanitan is an interesting choice on such a rain-heavy team just because his Flare Blitz takes such a strong hit from that. But we'll see what happens with this one. Hopefully you guys will enjoy what they have to offer here. So, like I said, I'll provide a little commentary, things I see here and there. Hopefully this video won't get too long, and the battle itself is kind of long, but we'll see what happens. So Ali leads with his Darmanitan. If you guys haven't faced Darmanitans before, they are scary as hell. Bach goes with his tank Dragonite, so Darmanitan's going to come right in with a Rock Slide, boosted by Life Orb and Sheer Force. Even though Dragonite is weak to it, his damage is halved because of his multi-scale, but you still see how much damage that Darmanitan did from that, just because of the incredible strength he has. But Bach was having none of it, goes for the Thunder Wave, which will paralyze him. So he's now going to be able to go first, and he's going to Roost, go back up to full health, and reactivate the multi-scale. This is a great play, because not only does it remove his weakness to Rock Slide, so he'll take half as much damage as he just did, but it'll also allow him to basically do whatever he wants. Now, Ali does get a crit on this, so it effectively works the way it would have normally if he were to not have roosted and gotten rid of that weakness. But it's a great move, especially with Rock Slide is not perfect accuracy, so just to kind of stall him out and go from there. So Ali swaps him out, goes to the Jinx, assuming the Roost, which is a good call. So Jinx will probably be able to outspeed Dragonite, maybe ruin some of his fun here. But Dragonite's going to take the turn, Roost up, get back to full health. Another great play. Dragonite with multi-scale is scary. Ali goes for the Lovely Kiss and misses. Very unfortunate. These things happen sometimes, but Dragonite goes for the safe Thunder Wave. If nothing else, it'll slow down Jinx and pretty much prevent any future sweeping that'll happen. But he goes for the Dragon Claw. Now Jinx's defenses, if you guys have not noticed, are terrible. So even though it's not a super effective attack, Jinx's terrible defense, her HP is also very low. Dragonite one-shots it with the neutral attack. So Ali goes for the Politoed. Let's bring in the Drizzle here. Kind of trying to muck around with Dragonite. Dragonites already are tough to bring down with multi-scale, but especially if they're built as tanks. And this one also, because it's got Thunder Wave and can annoy you, it's very tough to bring down. So he does go for the Substitute. That's a very good play. It's hard to say whether or not if you see a tank Dragonite, you think you might be able to outspeed him. If he would have been able to outspeed him, it would have been a nice free turn. Unfortunately, that was not the case. But Bach goes for a Dragon Claw. This does break the substitute. So Politoed is back. Goes for the Toxic on Dragonite. Great play. I love it. Tank Dragonites are going to be... I mean, getting a status on a Dragonite like Poison or Burn is great anyway, because it'll remove his multi-scale pretty much from the rest of the match. So, but especially Toxics on a tank Dragonite, that's really going to help him in the long run. So, goes for... I don't know what he went for. Somehow he went first, which is a little confusing to me. I don't know what move he used, because unfortunately he was fully paralyzed and didn't get it off. But he'll take some damage from Dragon Claw. They both heal off a little bit here. Again, Dragonite's going to take increasingly more damage from the Toxic, so this is only going to get worse as it goes on. He goes for the Protect. That's probably what move he was using, is the Protect, but unfortunately he was paralyzed. But able to successfully protect this time, rack up some more poison damage on Dragonite. This has just become basically a stall war between two very tough tanks who kind of can't crack one another just yet. So Dragonite's getting lower and lower. The Toxic counter is increasing further. You can kind of feel the tension building here. He sticks around, goes for another Dragon Claw, gets some more damage on Politoed before he's going to be forced to switch out. Politoed has enough health to set up a substitute, just barely, so he's going to be able to stick around. Thankfully, that Protect brought him probably just enough health. If he hadn't protected, he probably would have not had enough health, and he would have been stuck with no sub. But Dragonite is, look at how much damage that Toxic takes. I believe that's 3 turns or 4 turns, so that it just gets nasty. So he has to pull him back or he's going to lose him next turn. Goes for the Mamoswine, which is a great switch here because he's going to protect. So it doesn't work, so he will be able to protect next turn against Mamoswine if he so chooses. But it was a free turn either way. So he goes for the Icicle Spear. Now I can see where he's coming from. He wants to break the sub and continue to do additional damage. And it makes perfect sense. Mamoswine's ice attacks are resisted by Politoed, even though his attack is quite high. And it's just unfortunate that even after 3 Icicle Spears, he's not able to break the sub, which is going to be huge. If he had just gone for the Earthquake and played it safe, it would have been different. But stuff like this, you just sort of have to try it and learn. So I'm sure he was thinking that he would have been able to break the sub at the very least, but unfortunately he was unable to do so. So Politoed has really put him in a difficult situation here. He's going to have to take another turn. Again, he goes for the Icicle Spear. At this point, he's really got nothing left to lose. I mean, the sub has already taken enough damage that he'll probably be able to break it pretty easily here. So this is the 5th total Icicle Spear from Mamoswine. That one was a crit. I don't know if he would have needed it. It's hard to say whether or not he would have needed it, but he is able to rack up a little bit more damage on Politoed here. But at the cost of losing his Mamoswine, because he's going to fall real easily to Scald. There always was a chance that Paralysis would kick in and he would have survived, but it was just unfortunate that the Icicle Spear didn't do nearly what I think Bach was expecting. So Politoed is strutting its stuff here. So he's surviving, he's hanging on, and now Bach brings back the Dragonite. This is pretty much going to be a death sentence for Politoed, because he's not going to be fast enough. He does go for the Protect, which is nice to get additional leftovers recovery, as well as some toxic damage on Dragonite. Again, with the Paralysis it might have failed, but I can see where the reasoning came from, so I don't fault him for going for that. It's a pretty good play. Statistically, you know, Paralysis only happens 30% of the time, so it is relatively safe as well. So there goes the withdrawal. He goes out for his Darmanitan, expecting a Dragon Claw. He'd probably be able to survive that, and then maybe fire back with some really powerful, a Rock Slide, something like that. But Darmanitan's defenses are not very good, so he takes huge damage. Dragonite's base attack is, even though I don't know what this Dragonite is built as. I assumed it was a tank. It could actually have a lot of EVs in offense. I have no idea what it's built for, but it did ridiculous damage to Darmanitan. He's going to be able to finish off no problem here after the Paralysis. Darmanitan's not going to be fast enough. So this Dragonite has just been causing all kinds of problems for Ali. You really haven't seen any of his other Pokemon except for his Mamoswine, which went down relatively quickly, but Dragonite is just doing incredible work right now. So he goes for the Jellicent. He goes for another protect. He's got a few of those on his team, so Jellicent is going to be safe from the inevitable Thunder Wave to try to continue to disrupt his team. So he's going to get a little bit of leftovers, but the Toxic is going to kick in and take huge damage. I believe this is his 4th turn out, or his 3rd, I don't know. He's now down into the red. Jellicent goes for another protect and successfully lands it. Whether or not that would be impactful throughout the rest of the battle, who knows, but 50-50 shot, a little risky. Jellicent wouldn't necessarily mind a Thunder Wave anyway. It is quite slow, and I'm sure out of all of Ali's Pokemon he had left, that Jellicent would be the optimal one to have paralyzed just because it's so slow, so I don't fault him for going for it again. So here we see the Kyurem B, all of my speeches about why this thing is broken and stuff like that, so goes for the Mighty Fusion Bolt. Now, he doesn't have stab on this, keep in mind. It is a strong electric attack, and his attack is very, very high, but he doesn't get the extra bonus from the stab. Still, just barely not enough to knock out Jellicent. Unfortunately, it misses the Will-O-Wisp, which really would have wrecked any future offense that Kyurem B would have put out. So that's just an unfortunate miss. He goes for a Protect, probably trying to stall out some PP, maybe just get an extra turn of leftovers. But, so just another turn in the books here. And then Bach is going to go for another Fusion Bolt. This one's going to land. Doesn't protect. Jellicent is going to fall to this. No problem. So Kyurem B, we see fully in action here, kind of the power that it has. So he goes for his Breloom now. Breloom, always a scary choice. He's going to resist the Fusion Bolt. So Bach will probably be forced to switch, and whoever he switches in, he goes for his Jirachi. I'm sure because that was the one Pokemon who didn't mind the sleep the most, because you gotta expect a Spore when you have a Breloom coming at you. So sure enough, there's the Spore. And now this is kind of the point where you see the set of the Breloom. I've already mentioned in some of the podcasts that Brelooms are basically split between the Poison Heal and the Technician, but you can see this one is not carrying a Toxic Orb, so you can assume that it's a Technician. Bach switches to his Abomasnow, get a little Hail in there, maybe break a Focus Sash if he's carrying it. So Breloom goes for the Swords Dance. When Bach did this, I thought it was a very interesting switch, because Abomasnow is going to be weak to Mach Punches. You know Breloom's carrying it because he doesn't have a Toxic Orb, so there's the +2 Mach Punch. That's going to destroy Abomasnow without question. Oh wait, he's carrying a Focus Sash. Very clever by Bach here. So now he's going to be able to fire back with a super effective Blizzard. Blizzard does not miss in the snow. So Breloom is going to just fall real simply to this. If it had a Sash, it was broken by the Hail. It was a very nice play by Bach here. So able to take down what I consider to be one of the most threatening Pokemon in the game. So Ali goes for his Volcarona now, who's going to be able to finish off Abomasnow, except Bach brings it back, plays it safe just in case he needs the Hail. He can get it out there anyway. Goes to Kyurem B. And then Ali, in the meantime of the switch, is going for the Quiver Dance to increase Volcarona's power, try to run through the rest of Bach's team just to get some kind of offense in. Maybe just after one boost, hopefully he'll be able to finish off everything that Bach has. So Ali, of course, with the speed boost is now faster than Black Kyurem, goes for the Bug Buzz, with the stab, the +1, does really good damage. But now you're seeing the kind of bulk that Black Kyurem has. He does survive it with a Life Orb bonus too. He manages to hang on. I'm not sure what this Kyurem is EV'd in. I'm assuming it's health, because I know we talked about it, and I mentioned that that's the way that I would go, is to EV it in health just to get it that extra toughness. But Black Kyurem survives a +1 Bug Buzz from Volcarona and takes it down with a Rock Slide. So now we have Politoed in here. I believe this is Ali's last Pokemon, I can't remember. But Kyurem B is just going to hang around, go for another Rock Slide, doesn't have much to lose. It doesn't do as much damage as you would expect, but it's a non-stab attack. Politoed is not weak to it, so it kind of makes sense. Unfortunately, he's paralyzed. I don't think it would have mattered in the long run. At this point, we're nearing the end of it. So Black Kyurem takes out yet another of Ali's Pokemon. So kind of seeing in action here the real power that Black Kyurem will have, and Bach is using it quite effectively, supporting it where it needs to be. He had some nice plays with Abomasnow. His Dragonite has already proven after one battle that it's going to be very tough to bring down. So for all of you challengers out there, You have a lot to work with when you're going against Bach, so I think he's going to be a great leader. That was his first gym battle. I think at the moment I'm recording this, it's actually his only one so far, so we'll have to see what else he's got in store for the rest of the league. So, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll have some more challenge videos up soon, and other than that, I will see you all next time.